Hello everyone, welcome to your weekly tech update, the show that explores the newest, coolest, and sometimes mind-boggling side of tech available on the interwebs. I am your chief engineer, Ray McNeil. Coming up on the program today, we're talking India's Vikram spacecraft. It recently crash-landed on the moon. Ford is highlighting the performance capability of their new Mustang-inspired electric SUV, and it looks awesome. And happening in this week's What the? A man being robbed couldn't care less and lights a cigarette in the process. That and a whole lot more coming up on today's edition of your weekly tech update next. Hi everyone. India's Vikram lander has apparently crash-landed on the lunar surface. The spacecraft carrying a small rover began its powered descent recently. Touchdown in the moon's south polar region was expected to occur 15 minutes later, but just moments before landing, telemetry screens at the Indian Space Research Organization, their Mission Control Center, completely froze. In a scene eerily reminiscent of the crash of Israel's lander back in April, those screens reported the spacecraft was traveling at a horizontal speed of about 48 meters per second and a vertical speed of about 60 meters per second, just over 1 kilometer from the landing site. A flight controller said communication with NASA's Deep Space Network in Madrid had stopped completely. Several minutes later, ISRO Chief K. Sivan said Vikram's descent was nominal until an altitude of 2.1 kilometers, and communications were lost shortly thereafter. The most probable conclusion is that Vikram crashed on the surface. The apparent end of the lander comes a month and a half after it launched as part of a combined spacecraft. That was back on July 22nd. The spacecraft arrived in lunar orbit on August 20th, and Vikram separated on September 2nd. The lander successfully used its engines to descend to a low point above the lunar surface of just 35 kilometers. The orbiter, meanwhile, is still operating and is expected to perform scientific observations of the moon for at least a year. Among its scientific instruments is an infrared spectrometer that's going to search for signatures of hydroxyl and water ice near the moon's south pole. Had Vikram landed, India would have been just the fourth country to successfully soft land a spacecraft on the lunar surface. Earlier this year, that honor almost went to Israel thanks to the country's lander that they built, but a software glitch caused the spacecraft's engines to shut down at the last minute. Like their lander, Vikram sent data home up to the last second, which will provide valuable troubleshooting data that can also improve the chances of success in their future missions. Smart has touted electric models in its lineup for years now, but they've usually been secondary to the gas and diesel models. Now, however, the EVs have the spotlight to themselves. The Daimler badge has revealed the EQ42 and EQ44, both of which are not only designed from scratch as electric vehicles, but represent Smart's only vehicles at the time. That makes Smart the first automaker to switch from gas engines to an all-electric roster. It's really more like the first brand to make the switch. Let us know when Mercedes goes all EV, that's not far off. But it's still a noteworthy change. The cars themselves are still easily recognizable on the outside, although there's no doubt that they're designed for electric power plants with fronts that are designed to cool electric motors. You'll notice more changes underneath as well. Neither the 4.2 nor the 4.4 is a beast with a 41 kilowatt continuous output motor, an 81 mile per hour top speed, and a modest 0 to 62 miles per hour in about 11.6 seconds. The range is healthy relative to the size of the cars, though. You'll get a peak 99 miles of range, 95 for the 4.4. While that's based on the generous NEDC testing cycle, it's still a sizable jump over the 57 miles you saw from the 4.2 electric drive that they had a little while ago. You can charge it from 10% to 80% in 40 minutes without requiring a DC charger. The interior may represent the most conspicuous change. The new model's infotainment system revolves around your mobile device. The 8-inch screen is really a host for whatever your phone is doing. The press shots clearly illustrate Apple CarPlay support. Given the fairly rudimentary in-car tech of Smart's past, that's likely a good thing. Smart's companion mobile app continues to offer services ranging from remote management to car sharing and parking. But there's now a streamlined interface and Apple Watch app to put basic battery and climate control features right on your wrist. It'll be simpler to buy a Smart as well. You'll still have the usual base, Passion, Pulse, and Prime models, but you now have just 3 equipment packages to choose from. The default Advantage package includes the phone tie-ins, while Premium throws in a rear-facing camera as well as a panoramic roof. Go with the Premium package and you'll get illumination upgrades that include full LED lighting as well as rain and light sensors. Pricing isn't available at this stage. However, you can safely assume these cars won't be available in the US. Daimler conspicuously pulled the Smart brand from North America, in part because it wasn't a great fit. Microcars make more sense in dense European cities than sprawling North American highways, and the 4.4 has never been available in the region either. Even so, this shows that Daimler is serious about electrifying its vehicles and hinting that it's really just a matter of time before its cars ditch combustion power.